Do you want to write a book this year? Well, I have some ideas to get you started. Welcome to Allie on Life, where we talk about getting your story out into the world. And today we are really focusing on that process. Now, if you are a writer or you work from home, I've got a lot of content coming for you this year. So make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the good stuff. You can also share this video. You can like it. You can hit the notification bell. All of those things help me out, but they also help you because the more videos that people like, the more I know what content I need to focus on in the future. Now, if it is your goal to write a book in 2021, but you're not exactly a writer, or maybe you've never really written a book before, maybe you've written in a journal, you think you're pretty good at writing, you've read some books and think, I could probably figure that out. You might have been an English major or a history major like I was in college. You could have had a library degree like I also have, and just really be interested in books. You may have a story that you want to tell the world. You might have ideas that you need to get out there. There are lots of reasons why people want to write books, whether you've always considered yourself a writer or you've never considered yourself a writer. The question is, if you've never written a book before, where do you start? Well, I might not be the world's expert on writing books, but I have written a few books, and so this is the process that I suggest to get you started. First of all, create a writing habit. If you're not already in the habit of writing every day, write every day. That can be in a journal. You can do something like morning pages. That's suggested by Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way. I have tried to do morning pages, but they're not working very well in my life right now. I've journaled consistently at times and not consistently at times. The one thing that I actually do every day right now is I write a post that I put on Instagram for my verse of the day. And there have been times when I've thought, I am a writer and I'm not writing every day. And then I realized I write that every day. And so that is a writing habit. So whatever a writing habit looks like for you, get it done. Whether that is just writing down a list of ideas, there's so many different ways. You can brainstorm little short stories. You can use writing prompts. There are books out there, tons of books that have writing prompts. You can just look up some of those and find them and just get yourself into writing consistently, putting those words down on a page, whether it's, handwriting or typing on a computer. Either of those things count as writing. You just have to do it every day. And if you can't do it every day, because sometimes things happen and life gets in the way, that's okay. But if your goal and your discipline and your intention is to write every day, and you're maybe, checking something off on that when you get to the end of the day and saying, ooh, I forgot to write, I need to write something, those kinds of things to keep yourself in that habit. Create the habit. Find a writing buddy. Do whatever it takes to get those words down. As soon as you're in the habit of writing, you can pick an idea that you want to write your book about. You can just sit down with a piece of paper or again on your computer or phone or wherever you do that and just make a list of all of the different ideas that you have. Whether those are story ideas if you want to write fiction, or whether they're ideas for maybe a memoir or a nonfiction book of some kind, write them down. If you only have one, you have it easy. You just pick that one. But if you're like me, and like a lot of people that I know, you probably have a few more ideas than just one. And so then what do? You have to pick one. And I know it's so hard because so many of your ideas are amazing, right? I mean, mine are. So yours probably are too. So how do you pick? Well, once you have a list, take a look at your list and think, what on this list am I really excited about? Maybe ask yourself a question that one of my mentors asked me one time, which is, if you could only write one book in your entire life and you knew that there was just one, there's only ever going to be just one, which one of those would you pick? Now, if that's too much pressure for you, you can say what excites you the most, or you can say something like, what is it that you wish was in the world already that isn't, that you could put out there? I do that all the time with fiction stuff. I'm like, I wish someone would write a book about, dragons that talk and that are, really cool. Well, people actually have written those books, but not in the way that I wanted to write them at the time. So those are some things that I thought of. If it doesn't exist already, you could write that. And even if it does exist already, it probably doesn't exist the way that you would write it. So if it's an idea that you love, go for it. Once you have picked your idea, make a plan for how you're going to write it out. That can be a outline. It can be something called a brain map or an idea cloud or any of those things. It can be a cork board with index cards. A lot of people really love using those. Personally, I'm an outliner. I actually like to create, Roman numeral list outlines with the dashes and indents and all that kind of stuff because that's the kind of person that I am. But I also do some other kinds of less formal outlining, and I will link a couple resources for outlining as far as fiction goes in there. Create a plan. If it's fiction, brainstorm out your story, your characters, your plot arc, all of that kind of stuff. That's really important, and that it really helps if you know at least an idea of it before you start writing. If it's nonfiction, then know your concept, how you're going to illustrate that, how you're going to get it out on the page, the way you're going to construct the organization of your thoughts and all of that kind of stuff. Make a plan. Make a plan that makes sense to you, that you can follow when you write it. And know also that when you make a plan, sometimes as you're writing the book that you've planned, it doesn't always go according to plan. Some things come out in the writing, that's how I say it, and that is just fine. But it really, really helps to have a plan going into it. And then the next step is to track your progress and set goals. You can set goals first, but sometimes it's a little bit helpful to know if you haven't really written a lot in the past, to know, how fast you write, how long it takes you to write a chapter or 1,000 words or something like that, so that you can set a reasonable goal to say, I know I can write this much in a week, so I'm going to write this much every week. Or I've only ever written this much in the past, but I think I could write more, so I'm going to set my goal a little bit higher than that. And then also, if you know the length of the book that you want to write, then you can set your timeline goal for, I write this much in this period of time, and therefore I want to finish this book by, a couple months from now, or the summer, or the end of the year, or whatever your goal is. And that's it. That's how I start writing. That process, the outlining and the planning and the tracking and the setting goals, can take a while, so be patient with yourself if it does take a little bit longer than you anticipate. But also, don't take forever doing it, because you don't want to just get stuck in planning and not actually write anything. Also, that's where that writing habit comes in and is really important, because even if you're not working on the book that you're writing this year, you're at least still writing, and that's important. So tell me, do you want to write a book? Let me know about it in the comments, because I want to know. You can also tell me what you're struggling with, what your questions are. Maybe you're not feeling very confident with your skills or your planning and you need a little bit of help with that. I would love to help you out and see where your next action steps are and what we can do to help move you forward. And if there are enough questions about things that I can make another video about, I would love to do that. So tell me in the comments, and if there's somewhere where we need to focus next, I will do that. Now, I do coach writers, and I also wrote a book about writing. It's right here. This one. Stop thinking about writing, just write. So if you want just a little resource to help you get started, I recommend this one. There are also some other resources that I mention in here, and they're of course great too. I think this is a classic, but there are other classics out there by people who have written a whole lot more than I have and probably have better advice too. But I am going to link to where you can purchase this, so be sure and check that out. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my email list for all the updates that are coming, including when I'm going to start blogging again, because that is going to happen. And I also love to include more resources in my emails as well, because when I find something that I love, I pass it on. I can't just keep it to myself. I can't do that. And just so you know, after this week, I am planning to get back into my routine of posting on Wednesdays. It's really important to me to do that, but things have gotten a little crazy the last couple weeks, and so I've been a little bit off. But that should be all taken care of and back to our normal schedule starting on Wednesday. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and now go out there and tell your story, because someone needs to hear it.